Now, as I said, we hear with the brain. Children can't listen like adults because they don't have the same top-down capacity, the same intrinsic skills. You can only close, that is, complete a word that you already know. You can't complete a word that you don't know. That's impossible because there's no magic. So here's an example. In the United States, I was hired to do staff development of a kindergarten, of a building that had grade levels age 5 through kindergarten through 3rd grade, which would be about 8, 9. So the principal said, we're going to put sound in every classroom. And I don't sell equipment, but what I do is talk about technology always, about why it's so important. So my job that I happily accepted was to do staff development about why is this a gift? How can this be used in all your classrooms? Because initially teachers were saying, I have to use a microphone? I don't have enough to do to charge it? I don't have anyone with hearing loss I don't have anyone who has any trouble hearing in my class. I don't see why I have to use this. So we had conversations. What we did is there was a full day of staff development prior to installation of technology. Then the equipment was installed and the manufacturer did an in-service about how do you really use it, because this isn't the same as turning on lights. That is, how do you manage and maintain the equipment? I was about how to use the mic. Why is it so important? And then the teachers used the equipment, and we met again after 6 weeks, and we talked about it. What worked, what didn't work. There was a contact person in the building that if anyone had problems, they could go to that person. Because if there's no one to ask, if the equipment doesn't work, what do people do? They turn it off. They don't use it. Stuff doesn't work. So you need to have a contact person, someone who can support the person who's using it. And people have different levels of comfort with any technology. Some people are very comfortable and love it, and other people, it's an imposition. So anyway, and that after we met for the second time, the school librarian said, I have something really interesting that really surprised me and I really got about this auditory closure. She said, I have this library, which is pretty large, but it's not a huge building, maybe half again as large as this. And we had distributed loudspeakers in her ceiling, is the way it was set up at the time. And she didn't see why she would have to have a microphone, because when she read, the children were seated very close and around her. But she did use the mic. And on this one occasion, there was a child from the 3rd grade at the other end of the room who was shelving books back to the teacher, but could hear just as if she was right there beside the teacher. And the teacher was reading a book to 1st graders about animal sounds. It was one of the librarian's favorite books, read it all the time. That 3rd grader had heard it multiple times. And the librarian was saying, and the ducks were quacking, and the cows were mooing, and the sheep were bleating, and the 3rd grader said, wait, hold on, excuse me, bleating? What's that? Oh, well, a bleat, that's the